Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our annual Lunch and Learn. This is where we check in with the Richards Group and see what benefit changes have happened and what changes are coming up. So we appreciate you joining us. Those of you that are joining us on Facebook Live, those of you who are joining us on Zoom, we would like to say thank you to Heritage Family Credit Union, who graciously sponsors all of our educational events throughout the year. So a great partner that they have been with us. Also like to say thank you to Cat TV for always making it possible for us to do this on Facebook Live. This is going to be recorded, so if you would like a copy of this afterwards, we will have that available to you. Now, you all, or you should know that the Chamber no longer can offer group health insurance as legislative change happened a few years back, and that was taken off the table, but we still are able to offer you dental and vision at group rates. And so even though we don't offer the health insurance, it's always good to, as the annual enrollment period comes along, to know of the changes that are happening in health insurance. And then we also like to go over what we are able to offer you in the dental and vision. So today we have with us from the Richards Group, Jessie Jacobs. Hello, Jessie.
Hello.
We're going to turn this over to Jessie so that she can run through the changes, answer any questions. You can pop them up in the side here, and we can go over the questions at the end. So, all right, Jessie, with that, we're going to let you take it away.
Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. Nice to meet you virtually. My name is Jessie Jacobs, and I work with the Richards Group. So I oversee a department of 5. We focus exclusively on small groups. And I also work very closely with VACE and the Vermont Chamber on the administration of their dental and vision plans. So if you sponsor their dental or vision plans, you're probably aware that there are some changes happening for 2024, and we'll go through that. I'm going to share the slides that Northeast Delta Dental had presented. We had employer webinars a couple of months back, or I guess it was last month. It feels longer. But I'll just review all of that, and feel free to ask me questions as you go. I'm going to open up my chat box just to make sure I don't miss anything. But happy to, pause along the way and answer any questions that you have. So you're all seeing my screen here? Okay, great. So here's my contact information. I'm happy to help at any time. If you are working with a broker currently, that would probably be your first point of contact. If you're not satisfied with the service you're getting, we are always happy to have new business. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions and follow up to this presentation, or if you would like to learn more about the services that the Richards Group could offer your organization for employee benefit consulting. And just a brief background on the Richards Group. So we are kind of a third generation independently owned agency. We are the last independently owned agency in Vermont. We have 150 employees across several different offices. And we've recently gone through a rebranding of sorts. So, we traditionally refer to ourselves as employee benefits consultants, but we found that, the term total rewards more encapsulates all the different services. And so, we work from groups of 1 all the way up to, thousands. And depending on your unique specific needs, we have different service models to kind of meet you where you're at and to bring that additional value to your employees. But my team focuses exclusively on small groups. And so most of our groups are purchasing on the exchange. And so we're going to dive right into the medical for next year. This is the second year in a row of double-digit rate increases for Vermont Health Connect. It's been a really tough year. I was just on a staff meeting with my team, and we are all exhausted because everybody is looking for kind of that magic bullet, the exception to the rule, the easy solution for having to kind of come to terms with these rates. This is what the rates are going up with Blue Cross. This next page here is the rate increases with MVP. MVP, does have some single-digit rate increases there. We are seeing that, MVP and Blue Cross are more on par with each other than they have been in the last 5 years. So Back in 2019, there was a huge difference between Blue Cross and MVP. And we saw a lot of our clients make the shift over from Blue Cross to MVP to chase, the lower premiums. We don't have so much of that going on now because they're basically the same. So, if you're with MVP, they're still the most competitive carrier. The rates are still less expensive than Blue Cross's rates. But it's not enough of a difference to get the folks from Blue Cross to move to MVP. And as you might recall, the markets were separated a couple of years ago. So in Vermont, when we implemented the Affordable Care Act, the Shumlin administration at the time and the regulators decided to make an on-exchange only market. So what that meant is that all of the small businesses purchasing group coverage for their employees and all the individuals securing policies to cover themselves and their family members, they were all in one risk pool that was underwritten together. With COVID and how the Trump administration handled the subsidies for individuals, Vermont regulators decided to split the markets, which actually was a great thing for Vermont businesses because individuals are more expensive to insure than groups because there are fewer individuals to spread across the risk. So basically, how risk and insurance works, it's a numbers game. The more people you have in the pool, the better the rates are because the less likely any expensive event would happen. So they have separated the rates. And they will continue to be separate markets and separate rates until at least 2025. And at that point, they would need additional legislation to kind of make it permanent. I don't see that ever changing. We don't want to have the individuals come back into this risk pool because it will jump your rates up even higher because the individual rates at this point in time for the exact same plans are 15% more expensive than this. So this is just a summary slide of what's changing versus what's staying the same. So all 13 plans offered by both of the carriers will continue to be offered again next year. No changes to the plans. But included on every single exchange plan beginning next year is coverage for prescribed hearing aids. And the way that benefit works is that it covers one pair of hearing aids every 3 years that you are insured on an exchange plan. It is considered durable medical equipment. That's what the DME stands for. And all of the plans on exchange, durable medical equipment is subject to the deductible and then co-insurance after that. So if that is a benefit of interest to you, you'll probably want to pay attention to the deductible on your plan that you choose because that's what you will have to pay upfront before Blue Cross or MVP pay any portion towards the cost of your hearing aids. In terms of what's staying the same, everything else, the selection of plans, the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze plans options are staying the same. The essential health benefits that are covered on every single plan are the same. There's no changes to what was covered this year to what will be covered next year. It's all exactly the same. Both plans through Blue Cross and MVP will continue to have national network access. So if you are with Blue Cross, you will be accessing any Blue Cross Blue Shield provider across the country. Anyone who accepts Blue Cross and Blue Shield is automatically considered in network. And with MVP, they have contracted with Cigna to provide that national network access outside of the state of Vermont. The MVP ID cards have a Cigna logo on the back of them. It seems to be working seamlessly. We don't hear from a lot of clients where, they're not recognizing the ID card out of state. Like if you have students or snowbirds that are traveling out of state. Preventive care is always still covered at 100%, regardless of what plan you pick. And so this includes, the annual wellness checkups, age-appropriate screenings like colonoscopies and mammograms, vaccines and immunizations. There's a whole schedule of age-appropriate, gender-specific screenings and testings that are offered at 100% coverage. So there's no cost share on your part for all of the plans. That is part of the Affordable Care Act. So this is just a quick look at the plans. You probably have seen this before, especially if you work with the Richards Group. This is kind of our master tool for putting all of the plans into one document and a format that we like to follow. Blue Cross and MVP both produce their own, they call it a placemat, but they do everything like on a landscape and you have to read across. We like reading down. But basically, this is the summary of the standard plans. So anything in red is a change from last year. And we are seeing the usual things go up. So typically deductibles and out-of-pockets will go up every year. And that's what we're seeing on most of these plans here. The Silver 4 had a co-insurance change from 30 to 35%. So they're pushing more of the cost onto the member there. And then just, little copay changes here and there. Some cases it went down a little. But most of the time, these are going up incrementally. We will always see this going up every year. As you'll see down at the family rate for a platinum plan for the first time ever, we're seeing it hit $3,000 a month. So that was just kind of a milestone. We had noticed like, wow, these rates are very, very high. And especially from last year of double-digit increases, another year of double-digit increases. I just did some analysis for a group that wasn't very active last year. So I was pulling their 2020, that would be 2022 rates, and they had gone up like $400 in 2 years. So unfortunately, it's a really tough year out there. There aren't a lot of options if you are a small business in Vermont, but it's better than being an individual shopper in Vermont at this point. These are the Blue Cross non-standard plans. I don't know if you're aware, but the standard and the non-standard, they don't really mean much other than who designed the plan. So standard plans were designed by the Vermont regulators when they implemented the exchange. They outlined how the plans would work. And then the non-standard plans were opportunities for the carriers that were going to be selling plans on the exchange to design plans they thought would be attractive to their marketplace. And they also can include additional benefits if they choose. So these are the Blue Cross non-standard plans, are only plans that you can access from Blue Cross. They are still categorized by meta level. And if you're, the meta level kind of describes the richness of a plan. So, on the standard plans, we have platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. For the non-standard plans, there is the gold, silver, and bronze. What that describes is the relationship between the out-of-pocket costs, which is how much you pay when you use your benefits, versus the premium. And so the higher the meta level, like a gold plan, it has the highest premiums, but the out-of-pocket costs are lower for that category. And then the flip side would be the bronze. These bronze plans have the least expensive premiums of all the plans, but they have the highest out-of-pocket exposure. So when you're using your benefits on the bronze, you're going to pay the most on a bronze plan. And then, the silver falls in the middle of those two. And that's really the difference between all the plans. Another thing to kind of note in your mind is whether the plan is stacked or aggregate. If you're trying to make decisions on what plan would be better for you or your employees, this family deductible type is kind of key to pay attention to. What it essentially means is that on a couple or a family plan, the individual deductible, which we'll look at the gold here, is $1,400 for an individual. If you're enrolling as a couple or a family, you have 2 individual deductibles on your plan. So your deductible is now $2,800. The stacked piece means that any one individual on your plan can only incur deductible expenses up to the individual deductible amount. And then everybody else on the plan is kind of incurring their deductible expenses to the other $1,400 individual deductible amount. When you have an aggregate plan, I'm just going to go down to these Blue Cross plans here that are all aggregate. When you have a couple or a family plan, that deductible is still double, but it's shared across everybody that's enrolled on the plan. So if you have one person that is using most of the healthcare or getting a lot of care, and everybody else is kind of generally healthy, just getting their preventive checkups that aren't costing them anything, that person is potentially subject to that family deductible, just looking at, the preferred gold, that $2,500 family deductible. So it's little nuances like this that we work with our clients to help understand, make sure that they know how the plans work and they can pick the plan that best suits them. The MVP non-standard plans here, these are the same. So they each offer 2 gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze. And they each offer HSA compatible plans. So anytime you see a CDHP in the title, that means that it is HSA compatible. If you're offering one of those plans, in most cases, employees can fund a health savings account on a pre-tax basis. There are some circumstances where we recommend not doing that, or you can't do that, especially if you're offering a health reimbursement arrangement. But if you're kind of shopping for yourself and you have the full choice of all the plans, that's an important distinction to understand If it does say CDHP in the title, that means it's HSA compatible. You can put money aside on a pre-tax basis to pay for your out-of-pocket costs, and those funds will stay with you forever and roll over from year to year. And once you become Medicare eligible, you can use the money in that account not only to pay for qualified medical expenses, but also to pay for Medicare premiums. So it's a great savings vehicle if you can afford that plan design. As you'll notice, if you look down all the different service categories for a plan that has a CDHP, everything is subject to the deductible. And then there's either cost sharing, or for the case of the Gold 3 and the Silver 2 here, it's deductible then 0%. What that means is the deductible is exactly the same as the out-of-pocket. So if I'm an individual enrolling on this Gold plan, I have a $3,000 deductible. I'm going to pay the first $3,000. That I'm covered at 100% by MVP. They will pay the rest of my claims for the rest of the calendar year. So these plans are really popular. Blue Cross has I'm just going to go back up. Blue Cross has their version here. They work exactly the same. Deductible and out-of-pocket are the same. You assume the first set amount, then they pay. I think they're very popular because they're simple. There's nothing to remember. You know up front how much that plan is going to cost. And so that's why they have a lot of popularity. If you are somebody that has a lot of office visits, you might want to go with a plan, what we call a copay plan. Most of the good copay plans are the standard plans here, and you'll see them on the platinum, gold, and silver, and also the bronze has a few. But these are the plans that offer a predetermined dollar amount for an office visit. And so if you are somebody whose care is mostly office visits and you like knowing what it's going to cost you each time you go, then maybe, a copay plan would work better for you because you know today how much that office visit is going to cost you versus a plan where an office visit is subject to your deductible. In that case, you're paying, the allowed amount is what the insurance company calls it, but it's basically the cost of your claim, the cost of your office visit. So those are the plans with the exchange. In terms of deadlines, they have extended the hard deadline. It has been December 15th for all changes taking effect on January 1st. The carriers have both announced, most of this is partly due to accommodating the individual market. They have announced that they will accept changes up until January 15th. The effective date of your change would then be February 1st. So when we are working with our, small business clients, we are urging them to get everything in by December 15th so that you can start your invoice. Everybody's making their changes effective January 1st, just keeping in the back of our minds that we do have a little bit of wiggle room, in case we don't get some changes on time. If you're not currently offering any group sponsored insurance and you never have in the past, you can begin doing so at any time. You could, reach out to us. We're happy to work with you to get that established, or you can contact, Blue Cross or MVP directly for that. Did anybody have any questions on medical before I moved on to the dental and vision? Okay. I've done the spiel a few times before. Okay, so moving on to VACE. So we have worked closely with VACE and the Vermont Chamber on their dental and vision plan for quite some time. And they are getting to a point in their their strategy planning and their long-term vision that, being heavily involved in the benefits administration of these plans is not something that they really foresaw themselves doing long-term into the future. And so we had some discussions with Northeast Delta Dental about transitioning a lot of that administrative work back to Northeast Delta Dental. And that's really the big message here is that starting in January 2024, Delta Dental will be doing the invoicing. They will be doing the enrollment. They will be doing the all the communications and the renewals and everything like that. VACE will still exist as an entity, but they have removed themselves from the day-to-day work effort of administering the program. So I'm sorry, it's jumping around on you. Here we go. So as you may know, the VACE dental program had 3 plan designs. They had plan 1, which had 80% of their enrollment in it. Plan 2, which was a very similar plan, but on a narrow network. And then Plan 3, which was a preventive only plan. And they decided to simplify things, for both themselves and for Northeast Delta Dental moving forward. They're only going to be offering Plan 1. The administration is moving to Northeast Delta Dental. And then another big change was that they had 2 vision plans in 2023. They had Delta Vision, which is administered by Northeast Delta Dental on the iMed network. And then they had their VSP plan, which has been really popular and a lot of people are upset about going away. And everybody on the VSP plan is going to be moved into the Delta Vision plan. And if that's something that you're not interested in, you need to let Karen Winchester at Vase Insurance know before December 5th. And the upside to all of this is that there are a lot of online tools that you would have access to that you wouldn't have access to if Vase continued to administer it. So there's a group admin portal where you're able to enroll and terminate employees, verify eligibility, print an ID card, and then there's a billing portal that you can go out and make your monthly payments on. And so this is all kind of new technology that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. Our groups that are direct, they have their dental or vision plan direct with Northeast Delta Dental have been, enjoying this for quite some time. So we're happy to now offer this to the Vase groups. So this is just kind of repetitive of what I just mentioned. But, customer service is not going to change. So that's always been calling Northeast Delta Dental. That will continue. But if you as the group administrator have questions, instead of calling Vase Insurance, Karen Winchester, namely, you would reach out to the group contact service center at Northeast Delta Dental. So the other thing just to know is that invoicing is going to be separate going forward. So you will get a dental invoice and you'll get a vision invoice if you offer both benefits through Northeast Delta Dental, but you can pay them both from the same portal. So they are broken out, but you can set up, either an e-billing arrangement, or you can set up your auto pay just to pay the full premium for both when you remit your payment. We are having some employer-facing webinars in the fall. We are in the fall. In December, once your information is loaded into Northeast Delta Dental system, we wanted to wait until you could actually take this information and use it. We are going to be doing a training on how to access the group admin portal and the billing portal so that you can log in and see and start managing your information right away, if you want to. There's a new group number. This is just, one of those things that they had to do in order to track all of the business. It's not that important for you to know, but it is 71170 going forward. And then your individual group will have a sublocation number. So the group number just means that you are a Vase client, and then your sublocation number will indicate what your specific group is. And we have already received those for all of our clients. And if you haven't heard from your broker, they went out earlier. I think they went out late last week. So your broker should have that. It's just something that you'll want to include if you do in a paper enrollment form. If you are using the group admin portal, it's already pre-populated. You don't necessarily need to know it, but it will be important to include on paper forms that you submit. So as I had mentioned earlier, if you don't want to continue offering the Vase dental benefit, you need to let Karen know by December 5th, because at that point, the information is going to be loaded and Northeast Delta Dental will begin invoicing you for the January month of coverage. They're going to generate the invoice around December 15th, and then it's due by the first of the month. So it's quite similar to how Vase did their billing and payment terms. But the payment is now going not to Vase in Montpelier, but it is going to Northeast Delta Dental in Manchester, New Hampshire. Your invoice will come with a remittance slip that you'll just tear off and send in with a check if that's how you choose to pay. You can also choose to pay through the billing portal. This is just a summary of the 3 plans. So just as a refresher, these 2 in red are the ones that are going to be retiring. And if you do nothing, everybody is going to be moved over to plan option 1. There are no changes to that plan next year. A couple of things that are important about the VACE plan that you can't get going direct is that VACE doesn't have any participation requirements. So you can say that you offer dental as an employee benefit, and only one person needs to elect it in order for you to effectuate that coverage. If you were deciding, to drop this coverage through VACE and then go direct to Northeast Delta Dental or any other dental insurance company, they're going to require a minimum participation, which means they want 2 or 10 or however many employees to commit to the insurance in order for you to offer that plan. So that flexibility will continue going forward. The other flexibility that comes with these VACE plans is that they can be offered on a contributory or a voluntary basis. So contributory means that you, as the employer, can contribute any portion of the premium and have the employees pay the difference, or you can just make the plan available and the employees pay 100%. That flexibility does not exist when you go direct. I mean, it does exist when you go direct, but we need to know upfront, and your rates will change. It's more expensive to offer it on a voluntary basis than it is on a contributory basis. So there's these layers of complexity that the VACE insurance program has kind of carved out so that you don't have to worry about any of that. We also, I wonder if it's on the next slide here. It's been a while since I presented these slides. We have also modeled this exact plan direct with Northeast Delta Dental, and the premiums are more competitive. So you are getting a better deal in this plan one than you could get the same exact plan design going to direct to Northeast Delta Dental. And that was a really important part of kind of moving it back, because the next gen, they're called next generation plans that Delta Dental sells to small businesses. They're the biggest competitors to these VACE plans, which is kind of interesting because they're all administered by the same insurance company. But it was very important to VACE and to us at the Richards Group to make sure that the competitive advantage that this plan had would continue going forward. Any questions about the dental before we move on to vision? Okay, so vision. Vision is a little bit more complex just because there was VSP and there's Delta Vision. So if you have Delta Vision now or your employees have it now, there's nothing you need to do. You will automatically renew next year. Your invoice will continue to come from Northeast Delta Dental. That was kind of VACE's way of soft launching, moving the admin back over to Northeast Delta Dental. So if you've had it, you sent in or working with a broker, we would have worked directly with Northeast Delta Dental, get that up and running. And then behind the scenes, we could coordinate with the VACE insurance program to make sure, you're a member in good standing with your local chamber. That'll continue. There's no change to the Delta Vision plan or the premiums. You are locked in for the next 3 years. So those rates won't change for the next 3 years. If you had VSP, which was the more popular insurance plan, they have decided, because we could not work in an agreement where they would take the administration back, they have decided they're only going to work with one vision insurance plan, which will be Delta Vision. And for ease and simplification of transitioning this business over, they're automatically just going to enroll everybody with Delta Vision, give you that Delta Vision plan. The premiums are all less expensive and the benefit is richer. And so if that is something that you are not interested in and your employees are not interested in, you just need to send the terminations either at the group level or the employee level to Karen or to your broker and get those all processed before the 5th of December. We can still, get them processed after the fact. It's just that you would get invoiced after that point, because they can't stop. The billing train has already left the station, I should say. So we can get it corrected after the fact, but if you want to kind of avoid that billing mess, then we would want to get those terminations in before them. There's a new group number with Delta Dental. Again, not a huge deal if you don't know it, but especially if you're using the group admin portal, and your broker can always assist you with getting that information. Here's the new group number 907-151. Same way as with the dental, you'll have, the group number means that you are a VACE customer, and then your sublocation is your business name. So it ties you to your business name. And all the same timeline applies here as well. The only thing that's a little bit, I thought the payment went to a different spot for vision, but I guess it doesn't. So the vision goes to the exact same place. It's just that you're getting 2 invoices. You can, I believe, oh, they want 2 checks, I believe. So you would write 2 checks, one for dental, one for vision. But if you're in the group admin portal, you can pay them all as one. A new thing that VSP members are not used to, when they go to Delta Vision, they will get an ID card. Again, it's not required to have the ID card, but it is, some people like having that tangible, you know, relic of their vision insurance. So now they will have that going forward. So this page just shows kind of the Delta Vision benefit, which was offered in 2023, will be offered without changes in 2024, alongside the VSP plan that is sunsetting at the end of this year. So the copay for exam is exactly the same. The copays for frames or materials is a little bit lower with iMed. So it was 25 with VSP, it's going down to 10. The great thing about the iMed insurance plan is that the allowance is much richer. So it's $180 every 12 months for lenses or frames, whereas with VSP, it was $130 every 2 years for frames, or for lenses, and I think that's a typo. It's every 2 years for frames and every 12 months for lenses. You should reverse those 2 right here. Can't believe we haven't caught that. The other big difference in the benefit is that with VSP, that included all of your lens enhancements. So you will have to pay kind of additional fees for lens enhancements that you'll want to add on with the iMed benefit. Both plans have an out-of-network benefit. So one of the things with vision insurance that is kind of interesting is that optometrists will typically accept insurance from either VSP or iMed. And I haven't figured out why this is. It's not like medical doctors where they'll accept, UVM accepts every insurance company, essentially. But optometrists will work with one or the other. VSP's strategy is to kind of fulfill their materials allowances in office, and they require the providers to use their own products, which is why those lens enhancements came at no additional charge, because the provider was required to use the lenses provided by VSP. For Delta Vision on the iMed network, they are more of a kind of a free market type model where you can use your lens allowance at 5 different online retailers. They partner with, national chains versus local providers. So there are differences in that. I would say the iMed network is not as broad in Vermont as the VSP network. They have gained a lot of ground in getting more providers in network. And there's this out-of-network benefit that a lot of people are taking advantage of. So you can go see whoever you want as an optometrist, have your eye exam, get your prescription, and then you can use your allowance at any of the online retailers and kind of shop it around. And then what you would do if your provider wasn't in network, you would submit a claim for reimbursement up to their kind of out-of-network reimbursement levels. So both VSP and iMed do have this out-of-network benefit. And then the rates are down at the bottom. You'll see that the iMed is less expensive than VSP was. We are doing a lot of quotes for people that just love VSP and they don't want to leave. There are additional requirements. So if you want to keep your VSP plan, you need to either have agreed to pay 100% of the premium for your employees, or you have to have at least 10 enrolled if you're going to pay less than 100% of the employees. And then the other requirement is participation. So they require at least 2 if you're going to pay 100% of the coverage, and 10 if it's going to be voluntary, which means you're paying anything less than 100% of the coverage. So, the benefit again here of working with VACE is they've set up their plans so they're open. There's easy access to them. There's no minimum participation. You can kind of offer it as a benefit. If people elect, great, we'll get you enrolled, but you don't need to meet all of those requirements on the front end in order to put the policy in place. Any questions on the vision, Delta Vision or VSP? Okay, so this is just a summary slide, starting in January. Everything's really going to go through Delta Dental for the dental questions and vision. Karen will still be heavily involved. I will still be heavily involved. We do expect a kind of transition period where it's kind of chaotic. I actually sent her some new business yesterday and I sent it to the wrong place. And I'm the one in the thick of all of this project planning. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, we're here to help. Reach out anytime if you have any questions about this transition going forward. But basically, VACE is going to sponsor it. They're going to still be involved in kind of product design and the rules around it. But Northeast Delta Dental is going to be doing all the heavy lifting going forward. This is just a quick little slide on where to send changes. So basically, if you have coverage now and you're making coverage for the 2023, you're making changes for the 2023 plan year, then everything's going to Karen Winchester. So if you're changing anything effective in 2023, it's going to Karen. For changes in 2024 and going forward, that's all going, group level changes will go to Karen. We've updated her email address to VACE benefits. And then employee enrollment, terminations, changes in address, all of those items that you used to send to Karen, you're going to send to Northeast Delta Dental, their eligibility department, or use your broker. Rely on them. They can get them to the right place as well. That's what we're here for. Yep, this is just another summary slide. She was very thorough in her presentation. These are just reminders of the dates and the timeline. VACE's website is updated with FAQs, this slide deck, all of the 2023 forms, all of the 2024 forms, basically everything you need. And of course, if you need help finding something, please reach out. I'm happy to help. Any questions on the transition of admin from VACE Insurance to Northeast Delta Dental? No? Okay. And then the only other thing I was going to include here is just kind of a frequently asked questions about the Family Medical Leave Act. So it was not, so long story short, the legislature wants to make a mandatory family medical leave policy in Vermont. It passed the House and it failed to pass the Senate. So what it is now, it is a voluntary paid family leave. The state has selected one vendor to work with, or one carrier, and it's the Hartford. So they're the only ones that are administering this program right now. It went live for state employees in July of this year, in 2023. And then beginning in July of 2024, if you are a Vermont business with 10 or more employees, you can begin offering this policy if you wish. And then in 2025, they will roll it out to employers smaller than that. And individuals who don't have access to a paid family leave can then buy direct individual policies from the Hartford as well. So we have not started quoting any of these yet because they are all voluntary. But it probably is going to come up a lot more as, it opens up to the market of 10 or more employees. And we're happy to work with you to get you quotes on that, or you can go directly to the Hartford to do it. I'm not a lobbyist, but just knowing how our governor tends to vote on things, that they might try and get a payroll tax passed again to make it mandatory. And in that case, they would need to kind of have the votes in order to do it, because I would suspect he would veto it. So they are going to make another run for it in this next legislative session to make it mandatory, but that would result in a payroll tax. So more to come on that, but right now it's voluntary, completely voluntary. And one of the questions we do get is if it makes sense for employers to keep their short-term disability policies if they are then going to be required to have paid family medical leave. And the short answer is yes. It does make sense to have both. Disability is to protect kind of the employee's income if they cannot work due to their own injury and illness, where paid family leave includes the employees not being able to work because they're caring for a family member. Paid family leave is also a one time per year benefit, and it can only be elected one time a year, whereas short-term disability, you have kind of the entire year to use up the promised benefit. So if your benefit lasts for 26 weeks, and you only take 12 weeks the first time that you're disabled or unable to work due to an injury, and then later in the year, you still have remaining benefit to use. Whereas if it was under the paid family leave policy, it would already have been exhausted if you used it. So they don't quite kind of overlap each other in the same way that most people think. And that was my last slide. So all of these slides will be available. I'm going to send them to Erica, and you can have them. Then if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them now.
Jesse, just quick recap. First of all, thank you for doing this. We try to do this yearly, like I said, at this time, because there are changes to all these different coverages, and it can be overwhelming. So I really appreciate you coming through, having those nice graphics that lay it all out so people can see it easily and that we can share it. One question I did have that I get on the signing up for the dental and vision, because that is something they can do. Do they only get to do it annually at the annual enrollment, or as new employees come in, obviously they can sign up the new employee at that time? And that can all now be done through the portal.
Yes, thank you. This is a good point. So unlike health insurance, where if you have sponsored it in the past, you're not currently sponsoring and you want to start again, the only time you can do that is open enrollment season right now for a January 1st effective date. With dental and vision, however, you can begin offering at any time. They're very flexible. It usually is the first of the month. And, you would want all of your group paperwork, all the employee enrollment forms, and a binder check, which is basically your first month's premium. You want that all kind of submitted into Northeast Delta Dental prior to your effective date of coverage. They will accept all of this up until the last day of the month. So, say you decide you want to offer dental and vision January 1st, you're not currently offering it. You have until, December 31st to get that all in, but you're in the queue. So, it's going to take a while before that coverage is loaded into the system, before employees have their ID cards. So we always like to, when we work with clients, have them back it up about 2 weeks. If you can shoot for getting all your materials in 2 weeks before your effective date, then you can reasonably expect everybody's going to be live in the eligibility system on the first of the month when coverage starts, and you're, then offering benefits. We work with a lot of teeny tiny small businesses that have never offered benefits before, and that's one of their most common questions. Well, when can I start doing this? And the nice thing about the VASE plans is you can say you offer this now because you only need one person to elect it. And so when you're trying to put together kind of a recruiting package to bring in a new hire, you can say, we offer this dental plan, we offer this vision plan. And then if they come on board and they want those benefits, you could work with us. We would get all of that in for the first of the month following their date of hire or on their date of hire, although that would be, working backwards a little bit, but you can join this market at any time.
Great. And the fact that you only need one person to participate, and you can choose as the employer, am I paying 100%,
right,
50%? Am I paying none of it? So, and that's only available because of the membership with the chamber,
right,
and going through that program. So if you are thinking of making a benefit package for employees, I would encourage you to, it's minimal. And again, you can pass it through to your employee, but it's a great benefit to have. So are there any other questions before we have to let Jesse go? I see that Jackie has her hand raised.
Yes, thank you. So I currently offer health insurance and I administer everything myself. What is the benefit to me about switching it over to have Richards administer it for us? And is there an additional cost?
Great question. So yes, there are a lot of small businesses that are self-administering, we call it self-administering their medical programs. When the Affordable Care Act was passed, as you probably know, and this is why you're self-administering, the consulting fees for employee benefits consultants came out of the premium. So back in the old days, we would work with all our small businesses to get them to manage their medical plan, and the insurance company would pay us for our services. And that cost was kind of spread across every group, whether or not they had a group or a broker, or if they were self-administering. Those fees came out of the rates, and now we have to charge our clients direct for our services. So the rate that we charge our clients now is $20 per enrolled employee per month. So it's only, the folks that are on your plan. We bill quarterly, and it's a pretty informal arrangement. If your employee, we bill based on the last employee count we have on file. If it fluctuates and you want to kind of manage it down to the month, that's fine. You just remit payment as appropriate. So with that, what comes is all of the guidance for open enrollment and the renewals. We also begin reaching out to our clients as soon as May of each year. That's after the insurance companies file their requested or the proposed rate increases for the following year. We found that a lot of our clients appreciate this kind of early look at what next year's premiums are going to look like. So we start communicating as early as May. In May 2024, we're going to be sending out to our medical clients a summary of what the insurance companies filed for rate increases for 2025. Then when they come out, the final rates, we provide that information. We got that information September 13th this year, and have been encouraging our employers to kind of make their decisions as early as possible. The other part that we provide as consultants is compliance piece. So when you are doing employee benefits, there is a whole kind of realm of noticing and forms and compliance items like the Section 125 plan, like the summary of benefits and coverage. We consult on that. We will provide you with all of this. We have a new hire annual notice packet, and we have an open enrollment annual notice packet that we send to our clients that they can then push out to their employees and check off that box for being in compliance. We have a member advocate. So this is really popular. She's got 14 live cases right now. But so the member advocate is really popular in with our small group clients, because if somebody doesn't understand how their benefits processed, or they got a bill from a provider that they can't make sense of, or maybe their employer gives them an HRA, and they don't know how to use that, our consultant will help them work one-on-one in private with that employee to kind of navigate their next steps and figure out their issue. And I think why it's so popular is because the HR person or whoever is wearing the HR hat at the organization does not want to get into that. That's the first stop the employee is going to make. They're going to come to you. And instead of you kind of working through these issues and getting, the PHI and getting really personal with the employees, you can just say, Chrissy Fulham is our person. Call her. Here's her email. You can reach out to her. Sometimes she needs to get additional paperwork for the insurance company to release information to her, but that's kind of the biggest hurdle. And then after that, she will call all the carriers. She will call the provider. She will sort out the claim issue and then kind of provide the next steps to the employee to resolve it. And it's wildly popular. And, the fact that we have 14 employee cases going right now says a lot. I mean, people just don't understand a lot about how insurance works. So that's been really invaluable. We also do like workshops, anytime new legislation comes out or a new compliance piece comes out. The Consolidation Appropriation Act had a new requirement that groups had to go and attest to this no gag order thing. It's like things that come up along the way that we are there to kind of be your go-to person so you don't have to navigate with the insurance company. And so, we also do benefit booklets. If you have 3 benefits managed by the Richards Group, we will give you kind of a virtual summary of your employee benefits, and it can be customized to your organization. And our clients love these because they give that they're a source of record for the employee to refer to for their benefits throughout the course of the year, but they're also like a great tool to hand out to, people that you're interviewing to summarize what you offer in terms of benefits. And some of our clients put their holidays in there and things like that. So we can encapsulate kind of all of the employee benefits, not just the insurance-based ones. So I would say those are like the biggest things that come with the consulting fee. For dental and vision and life and disability and every other like insurance-based benefit, the carrier can still compensate us for our services. So there's no additional fee. It's just the medical on exchange. And then one thing I wanted to mention is that there is an off-exchange plan, health plans, that are becoming more popular just because of these double-digit rate increases 2 years in a row. But there are requirements that you have roughly like 10 employees enrolled. So if you have 10 employees enrolled, we can quote a level funded product, which is basically a partially self-funded arrangement. So the exchange plans are fully insured, which means you pay that premium, they pay out claims. If you have a healthier than average population, the insurance company keeps those premium dollars that you overpaid. With a level funded premium, if your demographics are well suited for it, the premium is based on the risk of your group alone and not the community at large, which is what the exchange is. And so if you have a healthier than average demographics, you would be paying less on the front end in terms of premium for a plan that is similar to plans on exchange. And then there is the potential to get kind of what they call a claims refund. So the insurance company, there's two companies that are offering it now. One is Allstate and the other one is Blue Cross of Vermont. What they will do is they'll forecast what they think the claims for your specific employee population will be. If you come in under that, they split the difference between what your actual claims were and what they forecasted them to be 50-50. So there's not only the potential to save on premium on the front end, but there's potential to get a refund of claims on the back end after your plan year has closed. And the nicest thing about these plans is that the broker compensation can be included in the plan. So we don't have to charge you for consulting services on top of that. And we do have a good number of employers in this product. But the smaller you are, the more volatile that claims experience can be. So when it works beautifully, but it doesn't work for everybody.
Thank you. I think I now have more questions than I had before, but I will reach out to you for a
Sure. Yeah.
Great.
I tend to have that effect on people.
Okay, well, we're getting close to the 1 o'clock hour. Are there any other questions for Jessie before we let her go this afternoon? And just keeping an eye on Facebook as well. I don't see any questions coming in there. So with that, I want to thank you, Jessie, for joining us today and going through all of this with us. Again, her slide deck will be available, so I can share that with you if you have questions. And I just want to say thank you again to Cat TV for helping us put this out there on Facebook Live, and to Heritage Family Credit Union for supporting our Lunch and Learn and other educational programs here at the Chamber of Commerce. So with that, thank you, and have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take care.
Okay.
This is Mark. Union is a proud sponsor of Bennington Chamber of Commerce Lunch and Learn series. I hope you find these seminars insightful and educational.